answer. And so we have to classify this group of things. If you're working with domain, you'll call them X's. If you're working with range, you'll call them Y's. So you just put the thing that we're classifying here, okay? In this case, we're just going to do X's all the way down since we're working on a horizontal number line. And then you draw this line. It's called a midline in math, and it means such that. So we're saying we're taking a set of X values such that our X's have to be between what two numbers?
0 and 7.
Yeah. So our X's have to be bigger than 0 and smaller than 7. And we use these strictly less than signs because we do not include 0 and 7. What questions do you have about that set notation? Okay, so a set is just a group of things. So I could like throw out your popsicle sticks and say that you guys as a class are a set. Okay, and so I'm saying you guys would be the set of things such that you're in my honors math 3 second period A day. Okay, and that would classify your set. When we're looking at numbers on a number line, usually your set is going to be represented by a variable, and we're going to limit that variable between two values. Okay, so for this next one, I have -3 to 6, and I have square braces, so I'm going to include them. So on my number line, I'm going to have a filled in dot at -3, a filled in dot at 6, and I'm going to draw, I should have picked a different color so it was more obvious. I'm going to draw a line straight between them. All right, so do I have a brave soul that wants to tell me how to write the set notation for this one? Aaron, bring it on.
The
Curly brace.
X. Then the midline.
Mm-hmm.
-3. Less than, or what is that? I forgot what it was called.
Yeah, less than or equal to.
Yeah. X, and then less than or equal to 6.
Beautiful. Perfect. Okay, and you can kind of remember this, the less than signs. If you bent the angle thing up, then it would look like an L. And greater than doesn't do that. Okay. Now we're going to look at this next one, and they only give us the set notation. So I think we should come up with the number line first and then figure out our interval notation. So Aaron just went, and I feel like I've called him tonight a lot. Brandy.
You would make a point at -2, and it would be open.
Yeah.
And then you would make one at -10.
Is it negative?
Oh, +10.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's okay. And it's gonna be
closed.
well, look.
Open.
Yeah, good. And now let's look carefully. It says X is less than -2. So what direction should my line come out from this dot if I'm looking at X's that are less than -2? Should it go left or should it go right?
Left?
Yeah. Okay, so that one's perfect. If our X is less than -2. And then what about this one? This is X is
greater than.
Yeah, greater than 10. So which direction should my arrow go here?
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so this is what my number line should look like for this. Good job, Brandy. Thank you. All right, Tanaya. So in this one, I'm going to give you a hint. We're going to have 2 intervals here because they're split. One is going this way and one is going that way. Okay. So Tanaya, help me do this one. What's the lowest that this arrow is going to go?
-2, right?
Well, -2 is kind of where it stops
okay.
if we're moving left to right.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm moving left forever, what number am I going to represent? Because technically the as you move left, like you would have -2, -3, -4. Those numbers get bigger, but the negative makes them smaller numbers. So what's the smallest number I would have on here? Is it ever going to stop?
No, so would it be infinity?
Yeah, so negative infinity. Because we're going in the left. We're going left. We're going in the negative direction. So it's from negative infinity. Negative infinity. And then where is it going to stop?
-2.
Yeah, to -2. And I always am going to use, whether or not I have negative infinity or positive infinity, I'm going to have a round bracket. And then, Tanaya, do I put a round or a square with the -2?
When you put a round one?
Yeah. Yeah, good. Okay, and then Francesca, help me out with the next one. What's the lowest that this section of the number line can go?
Positive infinity?
So that's the highest it can go.
10.
Yeah, so the lowest is 10. And do I use a round or square bracket with that one?
Round.
Yep. So I have 2 intervals here from negative infinity to -2, and then also from 10 to positive infinity. What questions do you guys have? Okay, if there are no questions, we're going to go ahead and do the 4th one. And then the last 4, I want you guys to try as you-dos. I'm not going to make you turn it in, but the solutions are already on Canvas. So try them yourself and then check Canvas to see the solutions. So these guys here will be you-dos. Okay. All right, so for this next one, let's see. Aaron, you can pick. Do you want to do the set notation or the interval notation for this particular number line?
Interval.
All right. So what am I going to write?
You're gonna write square bracket.
Well, what's the lowest this can go? If I'm going in with an arrow to the left, what's the lowest?
Negative infinity.
Yeah, and whenever I have any sort of infinity, I have to use the round.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then what's the highest it can go?
-2.
And now
Close.
Yeah,
square.
with the square. Good. Okay.
And is it going to be a square? Square?
Yep.
Yeah. 7.
Yep.
And positive infinity or just infinity with
Yep.
the
Yep.
parentheses.
Perfect. Okay, and I guess that leaves Brandy to do the set notation for this one.
You would do the squiggly line
Yeah.
or the squiggly thing.
The curly braces.
The X the such that.
Yep. Yep.
Um, X. Less than.
Yeah, less than, and this is closed, right? So it could also be
Less than or greater to.
or less than or equal to.
Oh, equal to. -2.
Uh-huh.
X over X. Greater than
Yeah.
or equal to
Huh?
7.
Perfect. Good job, Brandy. All right, so it seems like you guys have a fairly good handle on this. Go ahead and try the last 4 on your own when we log off, and just see how you do. Compare yourself to the solution. Questions before we move on to the next part?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yeah.
Is it always gonna be infinity when the lines go like, you know how they have arrows going down? Like it's always gonna be infinity?
Yeah, exactly. So like if it's an arrow moving to the left, it's going to be negative infinity. If it's an arrow moving to the right, it's going to be positive infinity.
Okay.
And if it's an arrow moving to the left, that negative infinity is going to come first in the ordered pair.
Okay.
And then the number. And if it's moving to the right, it's going to be the last thing.
Okay. Thank you.
Good question. Any other questions? Okay, if there are no other questions, we're going to go ahead and flip. So normally in class, I would have given you guys a bunch of sticky notes, and you guys would have done this, but I am going to try to do it with you. You can just like write this down on notebook paper, and you don't need sticky notes. You can just follow along with me. So I'm going to tell you that this point is at -5, 4. Okay, and this point is at 4, 5. So if you're writing it out on your own, you can just like stick those 2 points on a grid that you make real quick and draw a line between the two. So what we're going to do is we're going to take sticky notes, and it says the sticky notes must form a rectangle around the graph. The whole function must be visible, but we want to crop out as much of the we want to crop the function as close as possible. We want to get rid of as much of the grid as we can. So I'm going to start with the domain, and I can take my sticky note and I can get all the way up to here before I'm going to end up crossing over the function. I can do the same thing on the right-hand side, but I get to crop off a little bit more of the grid, and I get all the way up to here. Okay, so I'm going to take my green pen, and I'm just going to mark that on my paper. Okay, so my domain can go from this green line to that green line. Okay, domain is left to right. So left to right. Okay. Then I'm going to take my orange sticky notes. I'm going to put it at the bottom and then at the top. And I want to get as close as I can to the function. So I got to cut off quite a bit at the bottom. And then I get to cut off that much at the top. And so my range is always going to go from the lowest value, which is here, to my highest value, which is there. Okay. And so I have made a rectangle around my circle or around my function. And I've cropped it as close as possible, but I haven't actually cut off any of the function. So my domain is going to be where my green line is farthest to the left, all the way to where my green line is farthest to the right. So it's at -5, and it goes all the way out to 4. Now, because on my graph I have a solid dot here and a solid dot there, that means that when I move left to right, I am including both of these values. The solid dot means that they're included on the graph. So my domain for this particular function should be -5 to 4. Now for range, we go low to high.